How do you make the best possible B2B content? Now that's what I want to cover in today's video. A lot of videos that I see on YouTube popping up are for content marketing generally, or they're aimed towards the B2C side of the market. That is to say, businesses selling to consumers. But there are some key differences that you need to be aware of if you're going to be engaging in any form of content marketing. Whether that's writing nurturing emails, whether that's writing ad copy, landing pages, blogs, it all fits together and it all ties in to the concept of the buyer's journey, which we're going to discuss in this video and give you the tools you need to make a killer B2B content strategy. All this and more coming up. Hi there guys, my name's Larry Kotch, and if it's your first time on this channel, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. Make sure you stay subscribed, as on this channel, I cover lead generation and marketing automation. So if those are things high on your agenda, like I say, give it a subscribe and hit the like button. If you will, I put a lot of effort into these videos and it really signals to the YouTube overlords that this is something worth promoting. Now, before diving straight in, it's worth just covering why we're building all this content in the first place. I mean, if we're going to be running around, writing stuff, shooting videos like this, and creating really great content, what is it for? Who is it for? And at the end of the day, let's be honest, we want to get leads, we want to get new business inquiries, and to talk to as many prospects as we can each week. So all of this content that you're doing, it's worth keeping in the back of your mind. Content marketing is not just this thing over there on the side that is done independently. It's all got to drive back to that goal. And so that's why I'm going to focus and start this off with an introduction to one of the most killer concepts you need to get your head around if you want to understand what content to produce, how much of it, and what it's going to be for. And that concept is the buyer's journey. So here we have a visual representation of the buyer's journey. And put simply, this is just the state of the market that you are approaching as any company. Now, what I wanted to do here to make it really easy is I want to use the example of my agency, The Brains, because I know it the best and it's going to be easy to do this example for you. So we're a marketing agency. Now, at any point in good old London, in Londres, in the beautiful city, the big smoke. Is that right? The big smoke? Yes, I think that's right. There are going to be business owners and marketing managers out there who are in various stages of this buyer's journey. So right at the top, we have awareness. Now, this describes the people in the market, the vast majority of the people in the market that may not have a need for your services or, in this instance, for my services. These are companies that, for whatever reason, they don't need a marketing agency. They don't need anyone to help them with their marketing. Maybe it's going all right. Maybe they sort of know that something could be better. They're not quite sure what. And so they're still sort of betting in and generally aware that things could probably be done better, but it's not really high on the agenda. Things seem to be plodding along. So that's going to be the bulk of the market, and this is called the awareness stage. Now, the second stage is what we call the consideration stage. These are prospects, which is a sort of subset or a smaller group that have identified that they do have a problem. Now, they might not be quite sure exactly, they haven't quite pinned down exactly what that is, but let's say their paid ads aren't doing very well, or let's say they're spending a load of money on PR, but can't really track how well it's doing. There's something going on where they know that they need to educate themselves and solve the problem. So they've identified broad areas and they're doing research online, they're watching videos. And the final category, which is, the gold dust, where very few people in the market actually are, is the decision-making stage. So these are prospects that have done all their research. They've pinpointed exactly where they need help. Let's say, for instance, there's a marketing manager sitting somewhere who says, you know what? I'm wearing too many hats, and Google Ads, I just never have enough time to put into it. I know that we could be getting a lot more value out of there. I need to pitch that to my boss to get an agency or get a freelancer or hire someone who can nail Google Ads. And so they have done all the research and they've settled on a few options, and now they want to make some phone calls. So you can see that these three different levels of prospect will have very, very different needs in their content and what you do for them. So the question is, what content should you produce for each of the different stages and how much of it? So we're actually going to start bottom up because paradoxically, you actually have less work to do at the bottom of the funnel. These are people, remember, who already know what they want. They just need the right supplier. So your content here should really focus on what makes you stand out, what makes you the right company to deliver against what the person needs. So for instance, you could have Google campaigns. So if somebody is searching into Google Marketing Agency London, just to keep the analogy going with my business, because it's easier to riff on that than try to pretend I'm an accountancy or something. So let's say somebody searches in Marketing Agency London. Well, I would take them to a page, maybe to my homepage, which explains why we're the best agency, the awards we've won, etc., what kind of clients we work with. You see, by focusing on the kind of differentiating content that makes you really stand out as a supplier, you're going to have the best chance of converting bottom funnel leads. So that's obviously the creme de la creme. We talked about this. There's only a very few people in the market that are searching at any one point for a supplier relative to the total people in the market who are sort of just in the awareness stage. So that kind of covers the bottom side of it. You want to think landing pages. Now, of course, you don't have to pay Google to get people to those landing pages. If you have an amazing SEO strategy, you can actually rank organically on Google for some of those short keywords. To be honest, that's very difficult to do organically. You are probably going to end up having to pay Google to get traffic to those pages, but it's worth its weight in gold because you're going to hoover up all of the bottom leads. So I'd say if you're new to content marketing, make sure you tick that box off before you start worrying about the rest of the content. I know it sounds a bit paradoxical. You've come to this video thinking, great, I'm going to get some ideas. I'm going to start blogging. This is the place where there's the most juice, okay? If you can get your landing pages right and your bottom funnel strategy right, it's going to make life a lot easier. You're going to have a full calendar for your sales team. You're going to start generating a lot more income, a lot more revenue, and then you can start thinking about attracting the other places. Now, like I said, it may not be right for your industry. Maybe there's too many competitors. Maybe there's just not enough search volume. Maybe you're too niche. There's no one really searching for that online. So the bulk of what we would do once having seen off our bottom funnel activities is create content for the other two sides of the story. Now, again, at the educational phase, you might have people still Googling. So they might have what we call long-term keywords. And I'm aware this is a real brief run through of SEO. There's no way I have enough time to cover SEO and give it its full dues, okay? So you're going to have to bear with me. But the educational side of things, somebody might be searching something like how to do retargeting, so how to do retargeting ads. So I would have a guide on my website, maybe on the blog, that explains exactly how you do retargeting. You see how this is appealing to somebody at the education stage? And I know that they're at the education stage. So if I retarget them, if I send them to this retargeting guide, I can then follow them around the internet with more ads that then drive them to my landing page. You see, once I've got them to go for the guide, maybe to even download that guide, I'm going to be able to know that this is an educational stage person and I need to give them more educational stuff, and eventually there'll be a decision waiting to happen. At the top end of the funnel, you can go out to the market with that same guide. So if I had a really killer retargeting guide, I would just go directly out to the market on, let's say, a LinkedIn ad. I would say marketing managers, business owners in this region, company size X to Y, and I would go out to them with the revolutionary new retargeting guide for 2020. Now, in order to access that guide, they have to give me their data. They have to give me their email address and name at least. This enters them into my database as a top funnel awareness stage lead. Now, once they're in my database, I can then control how many emails I send them. So for the next few months, I can send them each week more stuff to do with retargeting, more stuff to do with paid ads. Whatever that guide was about, I can expand on it and give the person the comfort that I know what I'm talking about, my business knows what it's talking about when it concerns the subject that they're interested in. And eventually, I'm using my automation to drive them down the funnel, and eventually I'm going to send them to the conversion landing page when they're ready to make that decision. So I hope you see how that works. At the top, you need to think of things like swipe files. In the middle is, like ebooks, other lead magnets. In the middle, it's more like blogs, more educational content, videos. And right at the bottom, you're talking about those landing pages. So hopefully that makes sense to you, what content goes for where. Now, obviously, because this top funnel is where most of the market is, if you want to have a lot of success as a business, you need to have killer content at this stage. Lead magnets that are irresistible to your prospects, that they must have, that they need to download. And so that's what the next tips I'm going to give you are about. You're going to have to really stand out if you want to capture the attention of the majority of the market who's a bit sort of, So you're going to have to motivate them that there's something in you that they need to get in touch with because you hold the keys to their growth, and they've just realized this now. So to get that sort of effect in a human being through the internet means you're going to have to be super creative with content. So the kind of content you need to produce doesn't necessarily need to talk about random topics. Like you don't need to talk about fish farming or space travel or something like that, but you do need to have have your titles, at least your titles, and ideally your content framed in a totally persuasive and enticing and almost clickbait way to get people downloading your ebook, downloading your lead magnet, and getting into your database. So I want to give you a little example. Consider the two following potential ebook titles. Top 10 marketing tips for your business. That's number one. And the second one is the one Facebook method that helped me generate 100 leads in a week. Now, if you are sitting there on LinkedIn and you're maybe responsible for marketing and you see those two, the psychology works like this. If you see the top one, that's what we call in B2B psychology an improvement offer. The other one is what we would call an opportunity, okay? A new opportunity. So on the one hand, you're sort of saying, well, I'm sort of good at marketing, I've done my whole career in marketing. Like, why do I need this person's 10 tips? And what is a tip anyway, right? Why do I need to read about that? Whereas the other one is, oh, hang on. I've been doing some Facebook ads, but there's one Facebook secret that helped me generate 100 leads. There could be something in there that I need to read. People crave a sudden transformation. They don't want to hear an improvement on what they're doing. It then means they have to kind of admit that what they were doing before wasn't that great to begin with, and they just needed a few tips, but they're actually not very good at their job. Whereas if you come with a new opportunity, it feels as if it's the sort of aha moment, like a light bulb. It's like a new total opportunity that nobody else is aware of. No wonder your ads haven't been effective. You didn't know about the secret. The second bit I want you to consider is status. So the person you are speaking to across in your B2B content is another human being. For some reason, people think that in B2B content that they need to talk in this really boring, monotonous corporate speak. Okay, you don't need to do that. On the other side of your content is an individual who has a desire to increase their status, just as you do. All human beings at the core have a desire to increase their status. They either want more money, they want to be healthier, or they want better relationships. And any improvement in those circumstances equals happiness, and a perceived or actual decrease equals unhappiness. So this is the science of status. Now, if you can fold in status into your content, you're going to have a much better time. So for instance, you could say how this business owner works 10 hours a week because of this one marketing trick, because of this one Facebook hack. You see how that is almost an improvement on the last one because it's building in status. With a lot of people like marketing managers and FDs, let's say for my company, it's more about job security, increasing their own earning potential, increasing their intelligence, increasing their perceived intelligence to others, which improves their business relationships. So you see how the desire to increase their status relative to others is really important in human beings. And if you can fold that into your titles, it's going to give you a much better chance of actually getting them to take an action because they feel like they're going to personally succeed as well as getting a secret new opportunity. So I hope that makes sense. Now, I am going to do a big video on the whole B2B psychology, B2B persuasion side of things. So if that sounded a bit rushed, don't worry, there's a new video coming. Make sure you stay subscribed. And that is everything that I have for you guys today. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. I really hope that you become a long-time subscriber here on this channel. And if you've made it through the whole way of this video, then I guess I've got a little surprise for you. If you click on the link in the description below, it's going to take you to an ebook that I have prepared called the Leads on Tap system. And that is a full system that you can actually implement in your business from the next day, which takes into account this same content and B2B psychology, plus marketing automation, plus online advertising to deliver unlimited leads each week. It's what I use on my business and what I use for clients. By all means, go and pick it up for free while it is still free. And as ever, I'll see you for the next video. Take care for now.